seats so far. But at a track like this, where grip is ramping up every single minute, the weather has now started to calm down, the rainfall has ceased, drivers are putting rubber on the racetrack, even quickest. That can very, very quickly change indeed as the next 5.5 minutes unfold. Ma Qinghua from China won the last race of the Kumho TCR World Tour at the El Pinar circuit. He's looking for another quick good session, 5th position, currently in the Times. Repaired car from accident damage in free practice 1. The Cyan Lincoln Co team done another good job to get that Lincoln Co F03 up and running again. There seems to be no ill effects of that contact, so Ma having a strong session to get into Nacho Montenegro that we're looking at now, championship leader. Can the Honda driver do anything to get inside and secure that top 12 position? 12th at the moment. He's the man on the bubble. Yana Tuone is the next driver in the order. Frederick Vervies as well as a danger man, as is Rob Off, 14th and 17th for the Lincoln Co car. So Montenegro, no experience of course on this Villa Mercedes circuit. The first time the TCR touring cars have raced on this semi-permanent street track, so it is very firmly a level playing field amongst the World Tour and the South America drivers. No home advantage for any of these drivers, although some, as that man Juan Angel Rosso will attest, are racing in front of their home crowd, but there's no local knowledge of the circuit itself. Doesn't seem to be doing any harm whatsoever though to Rosso, currently in 6th position. In the Palladini Toyota Corolla TCR, good session so far, a 50.6, 2 seconds away from the ultimate pace as the drivers continue to feel their way around the circuit. But Girolami having some work done at the rear of his Honda, so Girolami in a little bit of danger at this moment in time. 3rd position, but running rapidly out of time to improve his slot and his pace as the final few minutes tick down and the drivers look to pick up speed and secure that all-important top 12 position to make their way into Q2, which follows immediately after this session. Windscreen wipers intermittently on for Ma Qinghua in the 155. The weather's still not perfect out there. There's a lot of debris picked up from the circuit too, which makes visibility difficult at times for these drivers. Rafael Reis making life difficult indeed by having Cardozo's Hyundai just ahead. So the Hyundai balking the Cupra driver, flashing lights for on Reis, the number 77, the Brazilian driver. Rafael Reis not happy with the Hyundai Elantra blocking his line, spoiling the qualification. And Reis, of course, is one of those drivers that is usually in and around the sharp end of the grid in the traditional TCR South America Banco BRB Championship, but he's down in 22nd position, so he needs to get a move on as this session starts to wind to its conclusion for Q1, as does Nacho Montenegro, and finds himself in a snake of cars with Santiago Urrutia, the man in the middle of that little snake, as he's just trying to find a way past the Honda ahead. Urrutia has a comfort zone at this moment in time, but will it be enough? His 12th position is on the bubble. That's where the danger zone is. Java, Montenegro behind, Cardozo and Reis ahead. So Rafael Reis did improve, and there is Casella's car. That is fantastic stuff. Juan Manuel Casella, one of the stars of the championship, big shunt in free practice 2, was doubtful they would get the car ready for qualification. There was even a question mark, frankly, around whether it was ready for race 1, but outstanding work from the Squadron Martini team to get the Argentinian driver Juan Manuel Casella back on the racetrack, and not only on the racetrack, but looking to get a qualification time on the board and lay his claim to a potential top 12. Currently 21st to 1 minute 53.4, but that will improve. Those times will lower significantly from Casella, I'm absolutely sure, as this session unfolds. So great work from the squad to get that Honda Civic back out on the racetrack, as Casella will be desperate to get a big result here. He's 3rd in the TCR South America standings. It's a big shot window for Casella, for teams globally and in Europe, but also for his championship charge. You can ill afford a drop scorer in this series. Such is the level of competition at the front of the field. So that's great stuff from Juan Manuel Casella and his team to get that car out on the racetrack. We'll keep our eye on the time, see where they end up as Pedro Cardozo now. Diego Nunes just exiting the side of the circuit. He's back on again in front of Galid Osman that we're looking at there. But here is Cardozo. He's in the Hyundai, just like this man, Mikel Azcona, the Hyundai Elantra N TCR, proven to be a competitive car. Azcona, second position, goes quickest. Mikel Azcona with a 46.763, just ahead of Ma Qinghua in second position. So Mikel Azcona is our fastest driver. He'll have one more tour of the circuit. Remember, this is to get into the top 12. The Q2 shootout that follows immediately after this session, but 12th on down, that will set the grid for the remainder of the weekend. Azcona charging in that 196, really pushing hard now. He wants to extend his advantage, learn what this track gives up when pushing to the absolute limit, because Q2 is where it counts for the fight for pole position. Mikel Azcona in the pound seats at this moment from Ma Qinghua. Frederik Vervish in third position from Ted Bjork. Rob Huff drops down to fifth now as Jan Alishay from outside of the top 12 moves up into third position. Jan has been the man of the moment so far this weekend, but only third position for the French driver, 1.1 away from Mikel Azcona. There is Ma Qinghua currently in second place. He'll be very happy with that one from the damage incurred during free practice 2. The Cyan Lincoln Co Racing squad get that car back out of the racetrack. Ma's not lost any confidence behind the wheel. He sets a great time at the moment. Kaseya, let's have a look where he is in the running order, down in 21st position at this moment in time. The man on the bubble is Race in 12th position. So Race now is the last man to make it through to Q2. Rafael Race will be hoping he can hold on just behind Pedro Cardozo. Bernardo Java in 10th position as well. Good qualification from him. Further down the running order, Rob Huff moves up into 7th position. Miller, a new driver to the TCR South America Kumho TCR World Tour weekend. Matthias Miller in the PMO Motorsport Lincoln Co replaces Rafael Suzuki, who is on Stock Car Brazil duties. Good time from Miller, 13th place at this moment. Java now is the man on the bubble. As I say that one, Santiago Arrutier drops into 12th position as we have a change further up. Ted Bjork in 5th, Cardozo moves up 6th, Vervish in 7th. As I'm saying that, Arrutier moves himself up. Lots of changes at the checkered flag. Arrutier now into 5th place, so Rafael Race is the last of the drivers that will be making it through into Q2. Yanatuone, 11th place there, great driving for the Paladini Toyota Corolla TCR driver. Yanatuone, good showing this weekend in 11th position. Of the big names that aren't through, Ignacio Montenegro, 17th place. Galid Osman, 18th position. Jose Manuel Sepang, 19th. Esteban Gurrieri in 20th. Kaseya is currently in 22nd position. Who else have we got that's missing? Java just misses out in 13th place as well. So Bernardo Java will be starting from 13th position for both races. A 49.418, 2.6 seconds away. And these are our Q1 times. Mikel Azcona is the man who's quickest from Ma Qinghua in second position. Nesta Girolami in third from Jan Alishay, just ahead of teammate Ted Bjork. Santiago Arrutier will be 6th position. In 7th place, we've got Pedro Cardozo from Frederik Vervish. Rob Huff in 9th. Norbert Mikulis in 10th. Fabian Yanatuoni 11th. And Rafael Race is the last of the drivers that make it through to Q2. 13th position is Bernardo Java from Matthias Miller. Angel Rosso in 15th. Diego Nunes in 16th. Ignacio Montenegro 17th. Galid Osman P18th. Jose Manuel Sepag in 19th. 20th place Esteban Gurrieri. Fabio Balbi in 21st. Juan Manuel Casella in 22nd. Enrique Maglione 23rd. 24th Fabio Casagrande. And Alberto Baptista lines up in last position in 25th place in the Toyota Corolla. 7 laps on the board, 1 minute 58.128 is the time of choice. So just like we predicted, folks at home, the weather conditions mean the last car over the line is likely to be the one that finds the best of the conditions, and that worked very nicely indeed for Bebo Girolami. 47.524 at the end, 4.5 tenths away from the pace of Mikel Azcona, but a comfortable progression into Q2. and the points that come with it as well. So good session there from home hero Bebo Girolamo, the fastest of the Argentinian drivers here in Argentina, but the fastest of all in Q1 was Spaniard Mikel Azcona from the BRCN Squadra Corsa Hyundai Elantra NT, quickest in first place. Tap on the window and a big thumbs up for car number 5, Fabian Yanatuone. Great qualification session for Yanatuone. 11th position is by far and away the best performance that we've seen during the Kumho TCR World Tour events that we've had for the Argentinian driver on home soil as well for the Palladina Toyota squad. Great performance. Can he repeat that though in Q2? That's the big question, because remember, Q2, 12 drivers will take part, but it's only the top 10 that will be reversed for Q2. So if you qualify in 10th, for race 2, if you qualify in 10th position, you will start from pole for the second race tomorrow, and that is going to be critical. Track position is king here in Argentina. Put yourself on pole, you're on for a potentially very strong weekend indeed. Rafael Race that we're looking at there, preparing for the second qualification session. The W2 Pro GP team, the two Cupras that are taking part in the TCR South America field. Final preparations on that car. Bebo Girolamo, slightly less activity around Bebo's car as now one of the mechanics come. Make sure the wheels are all tightened, make sure everything is in position, as Bebo, right at the very death, got that third position time and the guaranteed qualification, so a guaranteed progression to Q2. Girolamo will be looking for a strong qualifying to put himself in position to try and snatch the first race victory of the Kumho TCR World Tour for Girolamo and for the new Honda. How much that would mean on home soil for Bebo would be a fantastic story for the Argentinian driver, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him, as has this man Mikel Azcona. Do not be fooled, he was quickest in the first qualification session, but Jan Aleshe has been the man on form this weekend. Can Azcona, can the BRC squad replicate that speed and get the provisional pole position at the end of this next session? It's going to be a big ask. It's going to be fascinating to see how possible that will be, as Pedro Cardozo, another one of the Hyundai Elantra and TCR cars. Good pace from Cardozo so far this weekend. 7th position, matching what he managed in free practice 2 earlier on. In fact, 6th position in FP2 for Cardozo, so expecting to see big things from him as this next qualification starts in a few moments time. Cyan Lincoln Co Racing, of course, have been very, very strong all season long in the Kumho TCR World Tour, and that has carried over very much so to South America. That man, Santiago Arrutier, in front of his home crowd, won the opening race of the weekend, last weekend at the El Pinar circuit in Uruguay, and then in race 2, Marcin Guar, the man that we've just seen, took his first win of the season in the Kumho TCR World Tour. Jan Aleshe is the championship leader in this series and also the leader of the TCR World Ranking as well, which of course is very important for these drivers to finish as high as possible in the World Ranking to give them the opportunity of getting to the Grand Final early next year. And of course, as the Kumho TCR World Tour races alongside the TCR South America Series, the World Ranking points are enhanced for the TCR South America drivers this weekend, so there's an opportunity for the South America drivers to start to make a larger impact on the World Ranking standings. It's a 50% increase compared to those awarded in other TCR World Ranking events. So big opportunity for many of these drivers to uplift themselves in the overall World Ranking standings. Palladina Lady is smiling. Trust me, it is cold and wet out there. Smiling is the last thing she'll be doing when the camera moves away, because it is very difficult working conditions for all of these teams, drivers and spectators trackside. So credit how everybody's pulled together to make sure that we have a good sporting event over the course of this weekend. And you can see from these shots, the rain looks like it's falling a little bit harder now as we head into Q2. So this is going to add another element of difficulty for the drivers to overcome. And if you're the likes of Rob Huff and Frederick Vervish, that'll be good news for you, because the Kumho Audi isn't on the pace of its rivals at this moment in time. So any kind of inclement weather or anything that can mix things up a little bit of the racetrack will be good news for the two Audi drivers, to give them an opportunity to overachieve in the second qualification session and put themselves in a good position for the opening race of the weekend that will take place today, 1500 local, 20 CEST on the TCR TV app, of course, TCR TV on YouTube. So here we go then, 10 minutes to 2 grids, 12 cars, 1 racetrack, a little bit of rainfall and a whole lot of cold weather. Absolutely anything could happen in this next 10 minutes, and almost certainly will, as our field of Q2 drivers head out on the racetrack, headed, of course, by the Kumho Racing Audi squad. But look out for these 3 Cyan Lincoln Co Racing cars. They have been the team in form so far this weekend long. Can they recover in Q2? Will Jan Elishay keep up his perfect record of being the top of the times when the clock stops? Mikkel Azcona had something to say about that one in Q1, but this is where it matters. Ted Bjork moving to the side of the racetrack, allowing Elishay the free room to get past. Bjork jockeying for position on the track. You don't want to be held up by one of your rivals. Yes, you can get a slipstream, but that's not hugely important here at the Villa Mercedes circuit. It's clean air. It's knowing and seeing where you're going will be critical for these drivers. Somebody makes a mistake, which is all too easy to do, very quickly you can be involved in that one as well. It's Mikkel Azcona, fastest in Q1. There he is, just in front of teammate Norbert Michaelis. The two Hyundais working as one to maximise their grid position, and that's important because Michaelis and Azcona are second and third in the Kumho TCR World Tour standings, 20 and 30 points respectively behind Jan Elishay. So they need to score big and hope the Frenchman can be a little bit further down to help them mount their challenge before we head to Australia and Macau in a few months' time at the conclusion of this racing weekend. Argentinian driver Fabian Yanatuone there in the Palladini Racing Toyota Corolla TCR, good qualification 1. Can he repeat that in Q2? Pedro Cardozo exiting pit lane just as the World Tour field steamed down into that opening corner. Good awareness from Cardozo not to hold up the Kumho Racing Audi. Mikkel Azcona very late on the brakes, runs wide in these new conditions as the rain begins to fall. Azcona throws away his opening tour of the racetrack, so the Spanish driver now drops in behind Norbert Michaelis, just behind Azcona. You can see there is the Kumho Racing 1-2-2 of Frederick Vervish. Vervish will be keen to make sure he finds a way past that Hyundai before he gets held up in his own endeavours to find a way to set a time in Q2. Norbert Michaelis, though, is the leader on track, and by virtue of being the top man on the circuit will be the first one to break the time in being, as well as the 105. Norbert Michaelis now setting aside to lap, a banker lap if you will. Set the time, get something on the board, and then progressively you can start to push a little bit harder here on this semi-permanent street circuit that doesn't have much grip at the best of the times, and it's perfectly freezing out there with rainfall as well. More akin to a rallycross car than a touring car at this moment in time, as you can see the Hyundai moving around under Nick Michaelis. You've got to be on form there. Look at that, 3 stabs of the lock through the hairpin just to get the car turned in, just to control the rear of the car, trying to snap away. Front wheel drive, of course, are these TCR touring cars, but even then the rear is very talkative in conditions such as this, and it's not easy for these drivers. And when conditions are difficult, opportunities can often present themselves for a surprise result. Norbert Michaelis doesn't need surprises though. He like a pole position. As here we go now. Norby crosses the line, quickest driver of all, 1 minute 54.1 1:53.83 is the time. Jan Elishay immediately beats that one though with a 1:53.872 for his side to lap out on the racetrack. So Elishay laying an early marker down. Rob Huff currently in third, Marchinkoir in fourth. As I'm saying that one, Santiago Arrutier moves up into third position, 0.8 of a second, just under, away from his pace-setting teammate as the drivers look to lay their first lap down here in Q2. Elishay sideways in the 1:68. That is a very eye-opening moment for the French driver as one of the Hondas just moves to the side and gives him racing room for the 1:68. Jan Elishay leaving absolutely no crumbs on the table for his rivals, pushing very, very hard in this second time lap of the session. He's now giving that one up again, trying to warm the tyres up behind the back of Mikel Azcona. So critical for pressures and temperatures in the tyres to give them as much grip as possible in the conditions. But look at the sideways action of the 196 Mikel Azcona, trying to hold on to the Hyundai Elantra N TCR. So difficult in these conditions. You're gonna slide when it's this cold. You will definitely slide. The question is how you can minimize that sliding as much as possible in order to deliver the lap time to the hairpin. Now hard on the acceleration, teammate Norbert Mikulis just ahead. Let's see how much grip these Kumho tyres are giving up. Sideways again for Azcona, where he jumps on the brakes for the second of the two chicanes that we have here at the Villa Mercedes circuit. It's a very, very fast layout here in Argentina. It's a track that we don't see so much in Europe. This kind of racetrack is a little bit like Macau, but much smaller and a heck of a lot wider, it has to be said. This start-finish straight that we're going down, 30 metres in width. The track narrows up to 20 metres around the rest of the lap. There's plenty of width, but with it, there's plenty of opportunity to take different lines. As again, Mikel Azcona takes an entirely different line outside of track limits, and for the second lap in a row, that is thrown in the dustbin for the Spanish driver. Third position at this moment in time with a 54.246. And Mikel Azcona can't afford to keep making too many of those mistakes. With 3 minutes 21 seconds left on the clock, there's not much of this qualification session. 3 laps, 2 have been discounted, courtesy of off-track excursions in T1, but the lap that did count was a good one for Mikel Azcona. A 1.5 tenths of a second away from teammate Norbert Mikulis. Second and third position, Jan Elishay is currently the session leader on a 53.872. Pedro Cardozo, that we're looking at now, 8th position at the moment, doesn't have a representative time. Realistically, he's the front runners of those without the time, but sideways through the left-hander. Cardozo on the lock stops in the 43. Good job to gather the car together and not make contact with the outside retaining wall, but Pedro Cardozo will be acutely aware there is little to no grip out there on the racetrack. And Bobu Girolami getting himself in a little bit of strife as well as Bebu Nesta Girolami there in the 129 Honda. TCR TV logo on the back of the car as well. TCR TV, make sure you sign up for that one. It's free to register, it's free to download, and there's a whole host of TCR sessions and races from around the world located on that app. I'll recommend, if you've not already done so, to head to your app provider of choice, get that one downloaded, and immerse yourself in the world of global TCR racing. But back to the action. Girolami gathered that one together now for another strike of the dice. 1 minute 49 seconds left on the clock. Girolami crosses the line. He's currently in 8th position behind Ted Bjerk in 7th position. Cardozo dropped to 9th, but still ahead of Frederick Vervies. Rafael Race just moves up now into 10th position, dispossessing Yana Tuone, who drops down to 11th. Girolami still to set a time. Jan Elishay still the man at the front of the field. Norbert Mikulis is 2.3 tenths of a second behind. In second place, just ahead of Mikel Azcona. Let's watch Bebu now as he tries desperately to get a time on the board, which is not done yet. A 3 minutes 38 is for sure not a representative time for the Argentinian driver, as we see sideways as we come away from the shot. Girolami gathering the car together, so easy to do at Villa Mercedes. That's going to cost Girolami time, but he needs to keep on the loud pedal because he's running rapidly out of time to cross the line and set another fast lap before this session comes to an end. Mikel Azcona heading up the provisional second row of the grid in third place himself on the lock stop. So many sideways moments for all of these drivers, but Spaniard Mikel Azcona again sideways, steering left to go right. Mikel Azcona through the hairpin now. Let's see how much grip there is there in the Hyundai. Not much at all. A couple of stabs at the steering to get that car rotated, to get it straightened up for the hard acceleration. Now the circuit drops away from you. It's very easy to run deep into that one. But Azcona keeping it on track, hoping to get another lap in. Rafael Race in 10th position at this moment in time. He'll be on pole for race 2. Will Rafael Race, if things stay as they are at this moment in time? Let's have a look now. Azcona comes to the line. Third position at this moment. Can he get a faster time on the board? Azcona crosses the line, stays in third position. That's the end of his session in the 196. Mikel Azcona at this moment in time will head up the second row of the grid if nothing changes behind him, although there's plenty of opportunity. Still a few drivers out there on a quick lap. Jan Elishay is the man at the front of the field at this moment in time. 10th position now. Bebel Girolami sets a late lap, moves up into 10th, the provisional pole for race 2. Yana Tuone down to 11th. Rafael Race down in 12th position as well, so Race is falling down the running order. He immediately responds and moves back up into 10th, knocking Girolami down to 11th position. So that's a big change. Bebel Girolami knocked out of the top 10. He will start in 11th position in both races as Rafael Race takes the reverse grid pole, and Jan Elishay, Frenchman Jan Elishay, almost no doubt about it, coming into this session, is the quickest driver for Cyan Racing Link & Co. 2/10 just over of a second ahead of his Kumho TCR World Tour title rival Norbert Michaelis in second. Mikel Azcona making it 2 BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa cars in the top 3 in third. Rob Huff in 4th, Santiago Arrutier in 5th position, Marching Hua in 6th, just ahead of Ted Bjork. Frederick Vervish in 8th position. Pedro Cardozo takes pole position in TCR South America. Banco BRB 9th overall. Rafael Race 10th position on the reverse grid pole, just ahead of Bebel Girolami. A disappointed Nestor Girolami in 11th, and Fabian Yanatuone rounds out the 12 drivers that took part in this qualification session. There is confirmation of those times. Jan Elishay a 1 minute 53.871 to go quickest of all, 2.3 tenths ahead of Norbert Michaelis, with Mikel Azcona a further 10th and change in arrears in third position. 2.7 seconds cover the top 8, showing just how much track progression there's been out there in this session. Pedro Cardozo for Brazil in 9th, and Rafael Race, fellow Brazilian, in 10th position. Cardozo and Race will be our front row of the grid, with Rafael, the man on pole, in race 2 tomorrow afternoon. So that one's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how that progresses, with the Cooper on pole, the Hyundai alongside, and Frederick Vervish, a man we know is quick off the line, in third place. A good opportunity for Vervish and the Contiu squad to salvage a good result. But no doubt about it, the most disappointed man of everybody here at the end of this qualifying session will be Nestor Girolami, racing in front of his home team, his home fans, the Argentine driver Nestor Girolami. 11th position for the Squadra Martino Racing Honda Civic FL5. Not what he expected coming into this session. There is Pedro Cardozo on pole for TCR South America. A big hug, handshakes all round. Number 1, yes indeed, that is a sensational qualifying time for Cardozo. Great performance to not just beat the South America field, but absolutely annihilate them. A couple of seconds to 3 seconds ahead of next man, Rafael Race. Pedro Cardozo, right place, right time, and executed the lap fantastically well to get that TCR South America pole position. Rightfully will be delighted with that performance. 9th place is a good place to start for race 1 later on today. 2nd place is an even better place to start for race 2 tomorrow. Pedro Cardozo doing fantastic work. It has to be said for the Brazilian driver. Great stuff from Cardozo. Great stuff for himself, his team, and for the Seoul Hyundai as well that races in the TCR South America. The Scuderia Cirelli squad will be very pleased with that one indeed, as they kickstart a championship campaign that's been a little bit disappointing, I think it is fair to say, for the Brazilian driver. 10th in the TCR South America standings, 126 points away from Renato Montenegro, the championship leader. So this weekend, this season, the remainder of this season is all about scoring big points for the Brazilian. Speaking of scoring big points, this man's no stranger to success. Jan Alishay, pole position. Sayan, Lincoln Co Racing, great qualification performance from Jan. 0.2 of a second ahead of Norbert Michaelis. Fantastic performance from the French driver, quickest in FP1, quickest in FP2, and now in the session that matters, Q2 of qualification, fastest once again for Jan Alishay. So now we're going to head down to the pit lane.
Pedro,
and have a quick
pole position, la primera en la categoría, increíble vuelta además, me imagino que con las condiciones de pista no estuvo fácil.
No, de verdad que no. Estoy muy feliz. Sabía que tenía un coche bueno desde las prácticas y bueno, las condiciones estaban muy difíciles. Creo que por esto conseguí un P9 en la general y bueno, salir en la pole en el South America y mañana segundo en la general es lo mejor de los mundos. Y el trabajo no está hecho aún, entonces ahora tengo que mantenerme enfocado y vamos por la carrera.
Felicitaciones y éxitos el fin de semana.
Gracias.
Pedro Cardozo there, saying the conditions were very difficult out there. First pole position in TCR South America as well, so delighted with a strong performance, his Brazilian driver Pedro Cardozo, and so he should be as well. Very easy to make a mistake in these conditions, but he executed perfectly on board that Hyundai Elantra N. Pole position as a reward, just ahead of Rafael Race in the South America field. And let's have a word with our pole position man. Jan Alishay is down there to give us his thoughts on a great qualifying.
Jan, congratulations, fastest time. I imagine that it wasn't easy with these track conditions.
No, it was super tough. On dry is already tough, you know, so now we discover the track on damp condition with slick tires, no time to change. Traffic was a bit difficult to manage for me in Q1, almost didn't make it to Q2. And in Q2 I got as well a bit of traffic, but you know, I think we all got the same, but the track is insane. I love the layout, but it was so challenging, very challenging.
Congratulations, and here you have your trophy.
There we go, Jan Alishay, pole position trophy, big smile from the French driver as well, another good result. As he said, very, very difficult, almost didn't make it through to Q2, did Jan Alishay, but he got the deal done at the end. Starts from the best position on the grid. There are the Lincoln Co squad as well. They fancy those tools, don't they, for their work. But great stuff from Alishay, and they're the kind of drives that champions are made of. When everything could go wrong, you deliver the performance that you need to deliver, score the result that you need to do. And with Alishay, Michaelis and Azcona in championship order from the Kumho TCR World Tour, it's going to be a cracking race a little bit later on, so make sure you can put a note in your diary. Race 1 takes place 1500 local time, that is 20 CEST, and it's going to be well worth watching, especially if these inclement weather conditions continue as they have been doing over the course of this weekend. We've got an interesting grid. Rob Huff at the death moves up into 4th position ahead of Santiago Arrutier in 5th, Marcin Pawar in 6th and Ted Bjork in 7th position. Fredrik Vervish, Pedro Cardozo, the man of the moment, it has to be said, in 9th and pole position for TCR South America, just ahead of Rafael Race, who rounds out our top 10, and then Nesta Girolame and Fabian Yanatuone are 11th and 12th for not only race 1 but also race 2 tomorrow afternoon. It's been a cracking qualifying session. I'm sure you will all agree. Plenty of sideways action, plenty of dramas, plenty of surprises, but one thing that remains a constant in the Kumho TCR World Tour is somehow, some way, somewhere, Jan Alishay finds the lap time he needs in the Cyan Link & Co. and gets himself to the very top of the field, just as he has done all season long. This is going to be a battle for the ages this afternoon in the first race of the weekend. We expect drama, and I expect you to be there with us on the TCR TV app and TCR TV on YouTube. You are not going to want to miss this one. The first time that TCR touring cars have raced here at the Jose Carlos Bassi circuit at La Pedrera Park, Villa Mercedes. I don't think this is one to miss. 18 corners, 4.368 kilometres, a little bit of rainfall, and the ever-present threat of those concrete walls add spice where spice doesn't even need to be added. This is going to be a great end to the great ending weekend to the South American leg of the Kumho TCR World Tour, the continuation of the ever-growing and ever-impressive TCR South America Banco BRB Championship. That man, Bebo Girolami, qualified 11th position. He'll be disappointed, but on the offensive to try and find a way back up through the running order. We know he's not afraid to get his elbows out and make an overtake. The Argentinian driver is going to need to do exactly that if he wants any chance of scoring big points and continuing his charge in the Kumho TCR World Tour. It'll be interesting to see if Pedro Cardozo can extrapolate the pace in qualifying into race stints as well. The Brazilian starts 9th, has a good chance of a huge points haul, both in his national championship and in the Kumho TCR World Tour and the World Tour rankings as well. Mikel Azcona, disappointed, I think it's fair to say, coming away from Uruguay. Big opportunity for the Spanish driver to keep the pressure on at the front of the Kumho TCR World Tour, not least of which his teammate Norman Michelis just ahead of him in the championship standings. But Mikel Azcona, don't discount the Spanish driver. He knows how to get the elbows out, he knows how to race a touring car. I expect fireworks from himself and Huff on the second row of the grid come the race starts a little bit later on this afternoon. But between now and then, go about your business, make yourself a drink, have something to eat, have a little rest if you will. But whatever you do, 3 p.m. CEST, make sure you tune back in again, because the first race of the weekend is going to be absolutely spectacular. I am almost certain, and that man Jan Alishay will be looking to convert pole position into yet another race victory and become the first Kumho TCR World Tour driver to score 3 wins this year. Can he do it? Can Norman Michelis do anything about it? Will we have a surprise? So from us all, I hope you've enjoyed this qualifying, and don't forget we'll see you again 3 p.m. CEST for the opening race of the weekend. Take care and bye bye.